Aurooj, Assalamu alaikum class. I hope you all are doing great and you people are safe at homes. Today we are going to start a new topic that is based on conditional probability. Firstly, we can have just a recap that what we have studied in previous lecture. In previous lecture, we have practiced different questions related to addition law. For instance, if you have 2 events, 3 events, or even more events, you can simply use addition law in order to compute the probability. If you have the case, like if you've been given either or at least, if these words are given in the question, you can simply approach to addition law. Addition law basically होता क्या है आपके पास? Probability A union B. Probability A union means कि या तो events जो outcomes हैं या तो वो event A में होंगे या तो वो event B में होंगे या तो वो दोनों events में हो सकते हैं. That is meant by probability A union B. And if you have the case when you're having 3 events, like probability A union B union C, then what you're supposed to use is कि individually तीनों events को plus के sign के साथ लिखो, then you have if 2 events फिर combination के साथ minus का sign और फिर अगर 3 के आपके पास combinations बन रहे हैं तो plus के sign, तो plus minus up till so on, इस तरह आपके पास series चलती है. Now, if you have the case of conditional probability, now what does conditional probability means? Suppose you have an additional information and just because of that additional information, your sample space reduces. So when you need to compute the probability related to the reduced sample space, that is defined as the conditional probability. And we've discussed the formula related to conditional probability. Moreover, we have practice questions for this law as well. So in today's lecture, we'll be practicing and we'll be continuing the topic conditional probability, and we'll practice some more examples so that we can grasp the concept as much as we can. So what was conditional probabilities? The probabilities associated with the reduced sample space are called as conditional probability. आपके पास क्या केस है? जब भी कोई reduced sample space आ जाती है, and वो reduced sample space किस केस में आती है? When some sort of additional information is added. If you have that additional information and just because of that additional information your sample space reduces and you need to compute the probability related to that reduced sample space, it is defined as a conditional probability. So what is the formula for conditional probability? Simply probability A given B, that is equal to probability A intersection B divided by probability B. Probability A given B means an event B is already occurred and you need to compute the probability for an event A. And how will you write the formula? Simply you'll take the intersection of the both events. And whatever is given under this given statement, that will be under the denominator term. For instance, if you have probability B given A means an event A is already occurred and you need to compute the probability for an event B. And how will you write the formula? Simply, you'll take the intersection for both of these terms, that means A and B, and you'll divide it by whatever is given under this given condition, you'll write it in the denominator term. So this is the formula for conditional probability, and you can simply amend it by whatever you can just name the events. According to that, you can make amendments. So coming to the example, a man tosses 2 fair dice. What is the probability that the sum of the 2 dice will be 7, given that what? The sum is odd. The B part is stated as the sum is greater than 6 and C part is stated as the 2 dice had the same outcome. अब आपने क्या करना है? 2 fair dice का केस है. That means you'll just simply construct the bivariate table and you'll just enlist all the sample points so that we can compute the probability easily. So according to the given condition, we have the case if you roll a die twice. So rolling a die twice means कि 1 से लेकर 6 तक outcomes आप इस row wise में लिखोगे and then 1 से लेकर 6 तक इस column wise में लिखोगे. And then how will you enlist the sample points? Simply 1, 1, 1,2, 1,3 up till so on 6,6. This is defined as a bivariate table because if you have two variables and at once आप उन्हीं दो variables को treat कर रहे हो, we can use this bivariate table. आप सैम्पल स्पेस इनलिस्ट करने के लिए वो ट्री डायग्राम को भी अप्रोच कर सकते हो. इट्स ऑल अप टू यू. Whatever method you want to utilize, you can do that. Okay, so what is the probability that the sum of the two dice will be 7 given? Okay, one more thing. जरूरी नहीं होता कि क्वेश्चन में आपको ये चीज मेंशन्ड हो that you need to compute the conditional probability or you need to use the addition law. You need to determine it by yourself that what sort of law you are going to impose in that question. So for that purpose, you need to know some of the things that for conditional probability, if the word given is used, you will just directly approach to it. तो गिवन के वर्ड से पहले वाले को आप एक इवेंट को डिफाइन करो और गिवन के बाद वाले को इवेंट बी को डिफाइन कर दो. सो गिवन से पहले आपके पास क्या है? द सम ऑफ द टू डाइस विल बी 7. मींस दोनों आउटकम्स को जब आप ऐड करो, ऐड करने के बाद सम क्या आए? वो 7 आए. तो उसको इवेंट ए डिफाइन कर दें और देख लें इवेंट ए में कौन से सैंपल पॉइंट्स आते हैं. एंड गिवन के बाद वाले को यू कैन सिंपली डिफाइन इट एज एन इवेंट बी. एंड इवेंट बी क्या है? द सम इज ऑड. The sum is odd means you need to add the outcomes of the both events and whatever the result is, that must be odd. Odd means 1, 3, 5, 7 up till so on. So simply define the events. That is your first step. Event A is defined as the sum is 7 and event B is defined as the sum is odd. The sum is 7 means दोनों को add किया, sum 7 आया. 1 plus 6 7, 2 plus 5 that is equal to 7, 3 plus 4 that is equal to 7 up till so on 6 plus 1 that is equal to 7. So you need to enlist the sample points that will result in the sum of 7. Then comes event B. Event B is defined as the sum is odd. Means दोनों outcomes को add करो and add करते वक्त आपके पास जो sum आएगा that will be an odd number. So 1 plus 2 means 3, it's an odd number. 1 plus 4 is 5, that is an odd number. Up till so on 6 plus 5, that is an odd number as well. That is equal to 11. So you need to enlist all those sample points that whose sum is resulted in an odd number. So according to the given condition, they are saying that find the probability that the sum is 7 given that the sum is odd. So according to this conditional probability, you have the formula that probability A intersection B divided by whatever is given under this condition that will come in the denominator term. So probability A intersection B means that you need to find the common points in both of these events. So what are the common points? 1, 6, 1, 6, they are common in nature, so you'll just enlist the sample point. 2, 5 and 2, 5 is also common in both of these events, so you can enlist it. Up till so on 6, 1. 6, 1 इसमें भी common है और इसमें भी है, so simply enlist it. तो आपके पास A intersection B के sample points आ जाएंगे. So how many sample points are there that are common in both event A and B? That are 6 sample points. So according to the definition of probability, number of sample points that are common in both A and B divided by number of sample points in the entire sample space. That means 36 sample points. So you have the probability A intersection B that is equal to 6 by 36. Then comes probability B. Probability B means the probability that the sum is odd. Sum is odd means you have these outcomes whose sum is resulting in an odd number. So 18 sample points are there whose sum is an odd number, and you need to divide it by total number of sample points, and that are 36. So 36 by 36 ये cancel out हो जाएगा, and probability आपके पास आ जाएगी 6 by 18. So this is the probability if the sum is 7 given that the sum is odd. So that is equal to 6 by 18. Okay, coming towards the next part, the sum is greater than 6. Given से पहले आपके पास क्या है? The sum of the two dice will be 7. और given के बाद क्या है? The sum is greater than 6. मीन्स दोनों आउटकम्स को जो ऐड करो, वो ऐड करने के बाद आपके पास सम जो आएगा दैट मस्ट बी ग्रेटर देन 6. वो 7 भी हो सकता है, 8 भी हो सकता है, टिल सो ऑन. 6 + 6 मीन्स टोटल आपके पास 12 तक जा सकता है. बिकॉज सैम्पल स्पेस में देखो 6 + 6 12, तो मैक्सिमम आपके पास कहाँ तक जाएगा, 12 तक ही सम जाएगा. बिकॉज मिनिमम आपके पास क्या है, सम इज ग्रेटर देन 6. ग्रेटर देन 6 मीन्स 7 से स्टार्ट करोगे आप, ठीक है, क्योंकि 6 से ग्रेटर उन्होंने कहा हुआ है. तो सिंपली फर्स्टली यू जस्ट डिफाइन द इवेंट्स. गिवन से पहले वाले क्या इवेंट है, द सम इज 7. दैट मींस ये इवेंट ए है एंड यू जस्ट नीड टू एनलिस्ट द सैंपल पॉइंट्स whose sum is 7. Then comes event C. Event C is what? The sum is greater than 6. Just simply enlist those sample points whose sum is greater than 6. So these are the sample points whose sum is greater than 6. So according to the question, you'll just amend the formula that was already taught to you people. That was this one. All right. So you just need to replace it by event C, because you have to find the probability that the sum is 7 given that the sum is greater than 6. Greater than 6 means कि आपके पास ये वाला event आ गया. So according to the formula, probability A intersection C means दोनों events का intersection लिया, वो आपके पास numerator में term आ गई, and you need to divide it by whatever is given under this condition. That means event C, you'll divide it by probability C. Probability A intersection C means you need to find the common points that are common in both of these events, in event A and C. So we have these 6 sample points that are common in both of these events, in event A and C. So while you're writing the probability, what is the classical approach of probability? Simply the number of sample points that are common in both A and B divided by number of sample points in the entire sample space. So number of sample points that are common in A and C, वो आपके पास कितने हैं? 6 sample points. And you will divide it by total number of sample points in the entire sample space. And that we know we have total 36 sample points. So 6 by 36 is the probability of A intersection C. Furthermore, we'll be dividing it by probability C. Now what is probability C? The sum is greater than 6. And we have a total of 21 sample points whose sum will be greater than 6. Then simply divide it by total number of sample points in the entire sample space, that is equal to 36. Simply 36 will be cancelled out by 36 and you'll be just left with 6 by 21. Now coming towards the third part. Now the third part is defined as the two dice had the same outcome. The two dice had the same outcome. You can simply define it as an event D. That will be defined as the two dice had the same outcome. And just before this word given, you can define this event as an event A. So the event A is defined as the sum is 7 and event D is defined as the two dice had the same outcome. That means both of these events must be same, because they have simply said that the two dice had the same outcome. दोनों पे result जो होगा, जो outcome आएगा, वो same होना चाहिए. So we have 1,1, 2,2, 3,3, 4,4, 5,5, 6,6. All of these 6 sample points are those whose outcomes are same in nature. So this is an event D. And you need to find the probability that the sum is 7 given that the two dice had the same outcome. So according to the conditional probability, you'll just take the intersection of both of these events, that are event A and D, and divide it by whatever is given under this condition. That means under this given or slash, that is an event D. You'll be dividing it by probability of D. So taking intersection of A and D in दोनों के common points, we have nothing in common between both of these events. So that means if we have nothing in common, तो उस चीज की probability क्या होगी? 0. That means it's an impossible event if you need to find the probability that the sum is 7 given that the two dice had the same outcome. Coming towards the next example, in a class, 40% of the students study maths and science, 60% of the students study maths. What is the probability of a student studying science given that he or she is already studying maths? Firstly, you need to define the events, that what sort of data is given to you people. So you have the probability, वो simply आपको क्या कह रहे हैं, 40% of the students study maths and science. If you have the numbers in the form of percentages, you can easily convert it in probability by dividing it by 100. Like 40% means 40 by 100. 60% means 60 by 100. So you'll just get the probability of that particular event. So they're just saying that you have the probability that the students who are studying maths and science, if you have the case of and, that means uh, you are having intersection term. और होगा, either होगा, at least होगा, that means union. और अगर and होगा, that means intersection. ठीक है? So you have probability maths intersection science. That means the students who are studying maths and science is equal to 40%. और 40% को अगर आप convert कर दो ratio की form में, so 40 by 100 means 0.40. And you have the case when 60% of the students study maths. 60% of the students means 60 by 100, that is equal to 0.60. So this is the probability of maths, that the students who are studying only maths is equal to 0.60. Now you have to find the probability of students studying science given. Given से पहले वाले को event S define कर दो and given के बाद वाले he or she is already studying maths, उसको M define कर दो. So you have to find the probability students who are studying science given that the students who are studying mathematics, that is equal to what? S intersection M. M intersection S or S intersection M, that makes no difference. So it's all up to you. आप M intersection S लिख लो और S intersection M लिख लो. And whatever is given under this given situation, you'll just write it in the denominator term. That means probability of M. So the ratio of both of these events is equal to 0.67. So this is the probability of S given M. That means students who are studying science given that the students who are studying mathematics as well is equal to 67%. So we can just recall what we've studied in today's lecture. We have studied conditional probability, that basically what was conditional probability? Simply when you have an additional information and just because of that additional information your sample space reduces, and the probability related to the reduced sample space is called as a conditional probability. Moreover, we have studied the formulas related to the conditional probability, and whatever events we are defining, we can amend the formulas according to it. And we have practice examples related to conditional probability, but you need to practice some more questions. I have already uploaded a book of statistics that is defined as Introduction to Statistical Theory by Sheikh Mohammed Chaudhry. You can practice more questions. Basically, this is the chapter number 6 of this book. So you need to practice the exercise in order to grasp the concept more clearly. So this was all about conditional probability. We'll be continuing some more examples. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.